All right, welcome everyone to our Two Posh podcast, episode 33.
Yay!
And I'm here with my co-host, my beautiful daughter, Marcella.
Hello.
And my son, Gino's girlfriend, Whitley.
Hi.
And our amazing guest, Jazmyn.
Hey.
Thank you for hanging out with us again. And I want to say again, thank you to everyone that's listening to us. And please subscribe and leave us a comment that will help us grow the podcast even more. And we're so grateful that you are even listening.
And we can keep doing it.
Yeah, we just keep going.
Yeah.
Whitley said 5,000 or someone said 5,000 episodes.
Yeah.
So we wanted on episode 32, we asked some questions of dating fails, right? Or
No, like
we didn't
do's and like, or would you accept them or something?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we have a few more to go because I think that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And right after that, we're going to get into all of Jazmyn's stuff. So how do you guys feel about guys that are smokers and drinkers and do drugs?
I'm not here for drugs. Like, I don't mind if you drink as long as you're not an alcoholic. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Because I like the idea of like an old fashioned man. I don't mind if a guy smokes like cigars or something like that. Because I don't know why, but I like the smell of them.
Mm-hmm.
But like, no.
Cigars don't bother me. Cigarettes, absolutely.
Yeah, cigarettes bother me.
I just can't kiss you.
I used to smoke because in Europe, everyone used to smoke. I mean, that was just a normal thing.
Yeah.
And so I used to. I can't believe I used to. So,
Yeah,
but I am
can't believe you used to
absolutely
smoke either.
no drugs. No drugs at all. No drugs. No, not. I don't care about all these states that are legalizing pot. Pot is a drug. I don't care. I am completely against all of it. Leads to other things. I don't
even
judge
against,
anyone.
like Advil. How long have you had your headache?
Yeah.
Has it been 30 minutes?
Well,
Yes.
I mean, I'm not judging anyone if you want to do it, but I don't want to date you, and I don't do it and never did. I'm not interested in any of that, and my children not doing it.
Well, I've already said all my stuff, so.
Exactly. Anyways, moving on. How do you guys feel about excess baggage?
I feel like everybody has baggage.
Yeah.
But like,
We're talking
at this-
excess baggage.
like over the top nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Like this particular person. Now, this is not me saying this. I when I researched this person was talking about that some people can have really great relationship after people get divorced, and even with somebody else's children. Like I had so much baggage, poor Patrick. I mean,
A mafia ex-husband and
Yeah.
two children and a teenager.
Good thing he's tough.
Yeah. I mean, he handled it great, and we're still together, and he has been nothing but amazing about it. But I think it's very difficult. I don't know if I could have done it vice versa.
But you also were with my dad, who had three children and two exes.
Right.
Yeah.
Ton of baggage.
Yeah.
And
I think it depends on who you're with and how they handle it.
true.
Yeah.
So
Very
that,
true.
like, if you're dealing with, like, where it's, like, they don't handle it correctly, then I think that's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, regardless of how a woman is attracted to you, but if you have a messy situation with your child's parent, whatever, mom,
Mm-hmm.
that causes huge problems. So you as the man, I think, need to make sure that those situations are handled correctly.
Right. Because a lot of it, too, like, some things could be out of their control,
Right.
but it is how they handle it for you to make you comfortable and then moving forward.
Exactly.
Because if they just let them do whatever, that's not going to work for anyone.
Right.
It's like the one episode. It's all about reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel about if he has like a certain view of women, like where in today's world, like you can't, like if you want to be a pilot,
Like
he's
the guy we met out here once
yeah.
Oh
at
my
this
gosh.
podcast. We
That
met
guy
a
was such a
really
dick.
rude dick.
Oh my God, yes.
Spider, remember?
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Gosh.
And he has a podcast here, and I don't give a shit if he listens to this one. You're an asshole.
Oh, he doesn't.
Oh, good. Right. Because we
he
have
doesn't
nothing
anymore?
to
I tried
say.
to
Because we're
make
all
him,
women.
That one day I told him they have a really good show. You should check it out. And he started to, and he's like, I can't listen to this.
He had a very rude, like, we met him out here, and he was like, what do you guys have to say? Like, how could a woman, how could you have anything important to say because you're a woman?
Yeah.
Well, we won't ever work if you're a man like that. Never.
The funny thing is, he was wanting Gino to play for him. He's a tennis coach. Well,
Yeah, you
Whatever.
can say.
Yeah,
he's a tennis
You're
coach.
fine.
He knows he's a dick. So he was a tennis coach, and he wanted Gino to play for him, and Gino did not want like any part of that school
'Cause he
because he
didn't
didn't
like
like him,
Mhm.
like how he ran things, and like he found that out, and he's still like butthurt about it.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
like,
So he
wow.
got even worse with us because I was like, oh, tennis, huh? And he goes, yeah. And I said, my son plays tennis. Well, who is your son? Blah, blah, blah. And then he became an even bigger jerk.
Yeah.
But if you are the type of man who does not think that like women have anything to offer, we're just here to like have kids and like be quiet and like just sit
make
there
me a
and,
sandwich.
yeah, and look pretty. No, it's never gonna work. We have a lot to offer. Smart, like we can give a lot. You know.
Exactly.
I know Jazmyn's not going for that. So
Oh,
we don't know
no.
what you mean.
Oh, dear God, no.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really sorry I don't have this here today. I should bring it, but we're going to bring this up on another podcast just because I find it so important. But this was an unbelievable discussion on Facebook about how do you feel about if the guy doesn't pay for the first date. And there was this guy on Facebook, and he was such an asshole and such a jerk about it. And I am allergic to people like that. I'm sorry. I am sorry if you, as a man, are not willing to pay for a first date with a woman. It is so disgusting.
My question is though, I bet that guy's single.
Of course, he's
That's
single.
the best.
Like, he's totally
Good
single.
luck. You can
Yes.
voice that all day, but how many women are you going to be going on dates with? Probably zero, because I don't know. I mean, of course, there's going to be some women who are like, no,
Oh yeah, that,
should
yeah.
have to always pay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
No.
That's so funny that you say that because like I think I tried to pay with Gino and he was like, oh no, my mom would kill me. Like I remember that.
But see,
From the very beginning.
this is where if you try to pay, great, but
Yeah.
the guy better go. No.
Yeah.
You-
And it was
You're
fine.
not going to pay because that's that. I mean, it's a universal sign of a date. I feel like it's not even a date if the guy is not paying for it. And
Yeah.
the other part is, let's discuss, like, if they want to talk money, let's discuss how expensive it is to be a woman. Like, a guy has this long hair, can
Yeah.
wash it, dries in 10
Yeah.
seconds, no problem.
Don't have to
I
shave
mean,
all the time.
Go to Ulta and find out how much a lipstick is, how much
Yeah.
Well, then they're going to be
Really?
like, don't buy it.
Yeah. So like
but
Then
they
I
want
won't
the
look
woman
like
to
this.
look good, right?
yeah.
And the funny thing is that guys, they hold women to these like unrealistic standards, but then they don't realize how much it costs for us to maintain
Yeah.
those unrealistic standards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
And even if the woman makes more money, it has nothing to do with it. It's just being a gentleman as a man.
Yeah.
But there are some things that men need to do. You should open the door for women. You should be.
Yes.
This goes way back. I don't even remember what podcast this was about the airplane. Like, if a woman and
yeah.
her child need a seat on an
Oh, yeah.
airplane, get your ass up and let a woman and a child sit there. Because then this spirals, though, into like the whole, well, women want to have these jobs and women want to do this. So
Yeah.
then we're not going to like do this anymore.
But
So
that's a
it's
cop
like,
out.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
such a cop
But-
out.
Yeah.
Why
I-
should women not do it all and the man still be a gentleman?
Right.
Yeah.
So there are things that need to continue with men and women.
Yeah.
And if you're not that kind of guy, you're not going to be probably dating any
Yeah.
women. So
Chivalry is not dead.
exactly.
It's not. And I mean, I feel like he values his wallet more than the girl. So let's do not do with those things that are meant to be for dating and for relationships. I mean, there are rules. I'm sorry. We can all say we shouldn't have rules, but there are rules. You have to have rules to have successful life, period. You have to have rules if you're in a relationship. Marcella hates it, but you have to have rules. You have to have a successful relationship. You must have rules. They have to be there. I know you guys always fighting with me about it, but it's important. it makes your life easier.
Well,
Promise.
everybody needs to have their own set of rules.
Yes, and I'm not
Your
saying
rules
my
don't
rules
work for me.
No, you have to have your own rules that you agree with your partner. That's
Yes.
what I'm saying, not my rules.
Yes.
And also, I feel like how the first date goes kind of sets how the relationship is going to go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then and how the guy asked the girl out on the first date really like sets the tone.
Yeah.
Like,
think
for
about
instance, like my parents, like how they met. My dad was working at an army base, and my mom comes rolling in one day in like a short skirt or something like that. And she comes in there and she's being all like sassy, and she's like, "Well, don't piss off my dad. He'll ship your ass off to the desert." Blah 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 blah. And my dad turns to her and is like, "Do you want to get some Chinese food?" And so that was him. Like in that moment, it was like, "I accept your sass. I think you're hot, and it's
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I take you out?
That is a very smart man, and they're still married. How long? How many?
25 years. They just
25
celebrated that
years.
last time.
Wow.
Yep.
And you guys, they have an unbelievable marriage. They are the cutest couple.
Literally adorable.
Yes.
It's sickening.
It's like Gino and Whitley.
It is like that, but it's because the guy recognizes to let the woman be the woman, sassy or not, whatever
Yeah.
it is. I think Gino does that with you. Patrick
Yeah.
does that with me.
Very
Let us be who we are, and then they have a really great relationship and marriage.
Yeah.
It's much
Exactly.
easier. So that's that. That's how I feel about that very strongly.
Yeah.
How about like this is really important, like irreconcilable. I know you're gonna make fun of me with this word, irreconcilable differences. Is that how you say it?
It was pretty close.
Irreconcilable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried. That's
Pretty
still-
close.
You have to have similar values, like, and I think those are important too. It's like how you handle money, your religious beliefs, your political views. Even though I don't like to talk about religion or politics, but if you are in a relationship, they are somewhat
Yeah.
important. And where you stand on having kids and how you feel about pets. Those things are all super important.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think too, if you're about to get married, I think you should go to counseling before because you should get all that out on the table. Because if that turns into a disaster, then you should just cancel your wedding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah,
it's super
to talk about
important.
all those things.
Right.
I think
another
before-
third party.
Yeah, I feel like before the wedding planning even begins,
Yes.
not even a single dime has been spent until you know what the problems are, you know how to solve them, and like you're going in there with like a full like toolbox of like, okay, when we have this issue, we got to patch it with this thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
you know,
I
And
think
communication. You need to communicate.
very important.
Yeah. Yep. Like you tell me, like I don't know what you're thinking. I'm bad about like saying stuff.
I always tell
Sometimes.
her, I'm like, you have to talk about it. Like I always use this maybe a dumb example, but it's a very important one. Like my mom growing up, she had the worst PMS I've ever known any human being to have, but she never would say it. She would never acknowledge it. So she would turn into this monster like once a month, and no one knew what happened to her. It was like Jekyll and Hyde, literally. And I was always like, what is wrong with her? I mean, it was terrible.
It's not funny, but I was laughing.
Whitley's-
just picture like this, like
It was like that. I swear it was the most miserable 5 days every single month, and no one knew what happened. And then when I figured it out, I'm like, oh my God, this woman is PMS. If she could just say it, hey guys, hold on, I'm PMS. I'm not normal.
I say it because I am not normal.
Right.
yeah.
But at least you say it so everyone around you can go, oh, okay. Everybody.
Oh, I get it. Bring me chocolate.
Right. But that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so important.
Yeah.
How do we feel about guys that are pushy about sex?
no,
I've
Like-
never had that problem.
I don't really know. Get out.
Like he won't stop groping and like,
Ew. Like in public and stuff.
well, you're on a date,
Like the first date.
any date.
If you ask me to have sex with you on the first date, we won't ever speak again.
Exactly.
No.
Like we saw the other day out while we were out.
What?
Very
I was not there.
intimate couple.
Well,
Oh,
I can
publicly.
talk about it. We had Mother's Day, and it like Mother's Day is supposed to be, you know, the mom does nothing and just whatever, everybody waits on her. But I don't care because I like Sunday fun day at our house, and it's kind of beginning of summer, so I'm like, let's invite people. And we just met our new neighbors next door. And they're super, super sweet. And they're really, really nice people. And we just went to dinner with them on Friday. And they came over also with a lot of other people. And they're only together 2 years. And there was a lot of PDA, groping and such. And it was very interesting.
In conversation, go.
I don't ever know how to react in that situation. I feel like I get super awkward.
I can't keep eye contact or talk. Like I slowly back up into a corner and use my height to an advantage and hide behind somebody.
Like isn't it weird? He lifted her shirt, right?
Oh.
Yes. In my kitchen.
What?
He was like pinching her, and I was like, I'm eating.
Next thing I know, Whitley texts me and she goes, Gino and I are not that bad, right?
But I don't know what to do when people start doing that. I feel like I get super awkward.
I do too, and I'm like, I shouldn't feel this way. Y'all
you should feel this way.
I don't know. It was interesting.
That's weird.
My favorite part of that day was very interesting because they're a really, really colorful couple and they're really funny.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're so fun. And so she says to him, you are Mexican, you're gonna get diabetes and you're gonna die. And I was like, do you have diabetes? He goes, no. And I'm like, maybe he won't get it. Why are you giving him diabetes when he doesn't even have it yet? And she's like, yeah, he eats lard all day long. He eats lard. And
Mexicans eat lard?
I don't know. I didn't know. It was a new one on me. But then she goes, stop it, you don't eat it every day, asshole. And I'm like, what's happening right now? And she goes, I saw him looking at my snatch. I was like,
in front of everybody?
Oh, it was, most people had left, but it was still, I was like,
in front of anybody, I couldn't even still. Yeah.
I didn't even know anyone called it a snatch anymore.
I didn't know snatch and lard went together at all.
That should not go together ever.
I wouldn't eat it every day either.
That's a terrible combination.
I know. I was like,
I don't know. There might be some people into it. There used to be a show on HBO called Real Sex. Does anyone remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there was lard and vagina on there. I'm not sure.
Oh, weird. All right.
Anyways, that was my Mother's Day, guys.
Yep. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. And so it begins Sunday fun day at our house.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Spider, you have to come over one time. It's a little crazy. But it's fun.
Fun.
It's fun. It's very
always fun.
It's like this, just on a couch.
And with more people and a lot more alcohol.
And around the pool. Mm-hmm. He's a player.
I've already been down that road several times.
Oh, I was like, who is?
I forgot.
It's okay. I was lost too for a second. I'm
sorry.
Wait, who he?
I know the lard thing kind of went. I know. I'm sorry.
I'm like,
snatched
lard
in
boy?
it. What?
Yeah.
I don't want any more players. God Lord.
Done with that game.
Yeah.
I'm just not here for him.
Yeah. No. Wait, guys, I have to go back. I forgot to talk about one thing.
Huh.
The whole sex thing. They're asking if you try spanking, bondage, or rough sex without asking.
That's kind of scary.
Right?
Like, oh my gosh, you're gonna kill me? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Very scary.
I know, right?
That needs to be a conversation
Yeah, that
first.
doesn't sound like something you just want to spring on somebody.
And
Surprise!
Surprise!
Hey,
tying you up.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's how 50 Shades of... Well,
I was
no,
gonna
guess
say
they talk about it.
He's had to sign a contract.
Yeah, she signed a
That's
contract
true.
to agree to do those
It's
things.
binding agreement.
That's true.
Ooh, literally binding. Well, guys, I think this has been a lot of fun.
I'm sure that people are going to be disagreeing with a lot of stuff.
Well, let them.
I'm sure that's okay. I want to hear what they disagree on. We can
Yeah, you should come
discuss
on and then we can fight on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll fight it out.
Yeah, I love that. Let's debate.
Banter.
Yeah. So, Jazmyn, we want to hear about your story and how did your story start? I know you have a very interesting story. Where were you born? All that little bit. Give us some details.
Gracious. Okay, so I am adopted. I'm from Dallas, so I'm Dallas through and through. So let's just rewind 20 years ago. My birth mother, her name is April. She was 13 years old when she got pregnant, 14 when she gave birth.
To you?
No.
Oh.
So she gave birth to my older brother, Joseph. And it was some person from like an after school program and all this stuff. Her father filed it as like statutory rape, blah, 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 blah. Sometime between age 14 and age 20, she met my birth father, and his name was Lorenzo. So Lorenzo was very abusive. So you guys know like that, like the prong part that you like plug into the wall whenever, okay, so like on the flat iron and stuff like that. So my brother was abused and beaten with like stuff like that. I don't know if April was, obviously I wasn't born yet, so I don't really know. So, but they were beaten, and there's multiple cases of my brother going into the hospital, and the hospital of course has to ask the kid. This was him from newborn to 6 years old. All this stuff happened. And so whenever a child goes into the hospital and they have an injury that's obviously not them falling off of a couch or on a playground, then a nurse goes, pulls the kid separately into a room and asks them, like, did somebody hurt you? Did somebody touch you in the wrong way? And my brother was taught to be a pathological liar. So he would say, no, I fell off the playground, or no, I like hurt myself by accident. And so that sort of thing happened multiple times. And like the police, they can't step in until the child confesses that something happened to them, until there's enough cases up against them that finally the state could step in. By that time, I was freshly born, so I just had popped out. And so there was, the state finally stepped in because it was an abusive situation. It was unsafe for children, and there's a newborn, aka me. And so then the state immediately pulled us away and put us in a foster home. And my birth mother was given the choice. She could go and take parenting classes and possibly earn back my brother and I. And my birth father was sent off to jail because he was an abusive bastard.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he was sent off to jail for all of that stuff. And my birth mother, she took some of the classes and everything, but then decided to get Lorenzo out of jail instead. My brother and I bounced around to a couple different more foster homes, and then
How old were you then?
By the time that I was adopted, I was 10 months old.
Okay, I was so you were a baby, you know nothing. You
exactly. So I was taken away at 2 months old. Wow. And so the first majority of my life, I had no like schedule. I wasn't on a proper eating schedule. I was very neglected. And on the other side of Dallas, there were my parents. So my dad is 11 years older than my mom. And my dad was married before he had 2 sons. My parents, they wanted to have kids, but my mom, she had this car accident when she was 17 that literally she died 3 times. She was like tossed out of the back of a car, battered by the car across the highway. She has a scar that goes from underneath her rib cage all the way down to the end of her pelvis, and then from one side of her rib all the way across to the other.
This is your biological mom.
This is my mom, Shannon.
Oh no, your mom. Okay, wait.
Yeah,
okay,
my white mom.
Okay, no, I didn't realize that.
Oh, I did. I followed that.
Okay, completely. I didn't follow that.
Yeah. So obviously after that horrible accident back when she was 17, she wouldn't be able to have kids now. So fast forward, and they ended up going into foster care. So they got certified as foster parents, the way they could foster to adopt. One day, my mom, she gets this phone call, and she's like, it's the Bear Foundation, and
How
they
old
say,
is she?
Oh my goodness, she's 30
at the time.
30. No, 25. My bad. So I'm just kidding. She's pretty young. So she gets this call, and they're like, we have a sibling group up for adoption. Are you interested? All she knew was that there was a newborn and a young child. She didn't know the age, the race, the gender, anything at all. All she knew that was 2 kids, and she said yes, hung up the phone, called my dad at work, was like, we have kids. And so we were finally placed into their house, and it was an instant connection. Like most infants, they're very attached to their birth mother. I was not whatsoever. We had a viewing session every like month or so. Like it was slowly they'd wean us off of our birth parents per se, so that way more so April could get over being away from us more than me getting over her, because they would put me in her arms and I would be screaming and crying and sobbing because I didn't like her. Oh my God. And they put me in the arms of my mom now, and I was perfectly at peace.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so after the adoption was final,
so we have to clarify, because when like on iTunes we just have voice, so you guys are Black
yes,
kids, and then your mom and dad are white,
Yes.
and they adopted both of you.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'm a little chocolate baby. So our family was very, very mixed. So my parents, they're both white. My mom's a redhead and my dad's an average looking white guy. That's how I explain it.
That's so really true.
It's very accurate. And it's funny because being adopted, like obviously you think that I would know because I'm black, my parents are white. But no, I didn't. I grew up at a church where a lot of the other kids were adopted. So in my mind, I thought parents were just white. So
wow.
because
funny.
my best friend growing up, she was Asian. She was adopted from China, but her parents were white. And
So all parents are white.
exactly, like parents are white, kids come in all colors.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Oh, the little kid brain. Thank you.
And so I
That
didn't.
reminds Marcella wants to always adopt.
I
Like
do.
she
You
wants
should.
to adopt
I do. I
a
say
black baby, an Asian baby.
I just want all the kids. I feel like I've always said, like, I know race is an issue, but I'm like, for me personally, I'm like, I don't understand because I don't see color when I see people.
Yeah.
I just see people.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could be purple and green and whatever. Like, I had different races at my studio. I just love everybody.
People, yeah.
So I don't
Exactly.
see color. So I've always been like, well, if I can help children, I don't care what color, I don't care what
Yeah.
race. I just want all the babies.
My mom wants to adopt a black baby.
Do it.
My dad's like, maybe let's focus on our 4 right now, and then.
That's funny.
But
Yeah.
See, and it was funny the first time I ever discovered I was adopted. I was in kindergarten. I was in public school at the time, and I was sitting, chilling, not minding my own business, waiting for the carpool and all this stuff. My mom had just rolled up, so she sees me. She saw me first before I saw her. And she gets out of the car, and this one kid is like, I'm like, oh, look, it's my mom. And the kid's like, wait, that's your mom? You don't match your mom. And I'm like, I don't match my mommy? And so, my mom was literally watching me. And imagine as a parent seeing your kid, and they're like happy and smiling, like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, I just broke down sobbing. And my mom was like, oh my God. She scoops me up. She's like, are you okay? What happened? What'd they say to you? And I'm like, I don't match you.
So then you guys have like a talk.
So then they explained that they're like, well, mommy and dad couldn't have kids. And so then we were blessed with you guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, awesome. Cool. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Well, you can I don't think it has to come out of your body to like love, like
no,
baby.
exactly.
you can love.
Oh my gosh, I
Just
love
the
babies
same.
in the supermarket. I'm like, can I hold your kid? And Gino's like, oh my gosh, let's leave.
Exactly. And that was one of the biggest things growing up being adopted. There were so many times that people would be like, no, you're real mom. And I'm like, who? And I'm like, she is my real mom. Like, she's the only mom I have memory with. She's the only one who I've ever called mom. I'm like, we actually used to joke around. We'd be like, oh yeah, she was just the donor. So
Yeah.
April's just the donor, or like she was the birther. That was like her nickname
Yeah.
for a little while. And it's just like, no, like you guys are my parents. So
Yeah.
And your parents, to me, are, you know how big I am on parents really parenting. And I feel like your parents have done such an incredible job. Like, I remember the first time I met your parents was at our fashion show that you modeled in, and I just saw your dad interacting with you and the way that he spoke to you, and your mom. It was such a special thing to me, and I'm like, man. And then when I got to know you better and you work for me and whatnot, I'm like, man, they did such a good job. Like,
Yeah.
such
I
a
always tell
great
people,
job. And
I'm
they're
like-
so close. Like,
Yeah.
they're close like we are. And it's such a rare thing these days, especially. And then for them to be the adoptive parents, it's just incredible.
Well, you're so reliable. I was like, oh my gosh, at the studio, especially when things were crazy. I was like, you were always on time, always reliable, and it's very hard to find. We always say like it's hard to find people
These
who
days.
are good at work, like who take their job seriously. And I was like, Jazmyn, I can always count on, and I think that's such a big thing.
It
Like,
is
so
huge.
great. Like for people, like if you are a reliable person, it just says a lot about
And
your
you were
parents.
homeschooled.
yes, I was.
So that the more people hear me talk about it, this is an amazing. I mean, homeschooling is amazing. It has come so far, and the kids that come out of it is unbelievable. I mean, you are a perfect example for that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you should be a poster child for homeschool. Truly,
Thank you.
No, it's the truth. I mean, smart as can be, so gifted
smart.
in
Oh
so
my
many
gosh.
things, so reliable. So you can always count on you. It's really, really
Thank you.
amazing. So great job, your parents.
Thanks. Yeah, like they're amazing. I love my parents. Like I still I moved out recently, a couple months ago, got my first apartment.
Ask you, how are you doing with
I
that?
am living on a ramen budget. It's great. But I still go back because my apartment's only 5 minutes from my parents' house, and most people, they'd be like, if you're gonna move out, you might as well move around to like the other side of town. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm like, I live 5 minutes from my parents because one, I'm too broke to afford a washer and dryer, so I do my laundry there.
Yeah.
And two, because that means if anything ever goes wrong, my parents are like right up the street.
I live close to my mom. Gino lives close. Yeah. We're all very close. I think that's the best way.
I love it.
Me too. I love
so
it.
far from
you are very far, and that's sad. I always hope your parents move to Dallas. That would be
I do
perfect
too.
situation.
I'm hoping Harvey kicks them here.
That would be so awesome. I think it'd be easier for everyone.
I do too.
It
Yeah.
would be.
Kason could go to PAC.
Yeah. He would love it.
Oh, yeah.
I need to talk about something with you.
Yeah.
That is very important for me, as I feel like I'm kind of your mom.
The other white mom.
My other white mom.
The other white mom. And you know that everything I've ever said to you or told you always comes from a place of love. And I worry about you. I'm all of you guys all the time. So if I feel strongly about something, I say it and I don't judge what comes after. I recently found out where you're working. And you have the new job with a new studio, correct?
Yes.
Is that the job where you're working so many hours?
No.
Oh, no. Where are you working
No.
so many hours?
I'm actually working at this PR and marketing firm.
Oh, very
Yes.
cool.
Cool though.
Yes.
Where at?
It's
That's
in
so
Dallas. It's like
exciting.
right up the street, actually.
We just recently hired a PR person.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So very
Nice.
exciting.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better right up front. So,
Yeah.
but I also know that you are doing something with this new dance studio that's opening, correct? What is your position with them?
I honestly don't know what my position is as of right now. I might be going in as an instructor, but I don't even know what levels and or classes I'll be teaching.
Okay.
So that's like to be determined. So
Got it. Okay. That makes me feel so much better because I thought you were doing all these hours there.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay. So there's a new dance studio opening in town, and it's when that happens in this town, we have talked about dance so much that on our past episodes, everyone knows we're very involved in that world, and we know a lot, and we know sometimes too much. And this new studio that's opening is actually a family from Los Angeles that are wonderful people from what I hear. I have not met them personally.
I have, and they are the sweetest.
Jazmyn, you had told me about them. The sweet.
I met them
So
because
sweet.
of Jazmyn. Their
Right.
kids are phenomenal dancers.
Right.
I worked with them. I did a private with them.
Yep.
They
Right.
are very wonderful people.
Wonderful
Amazing
people.
little artist.
Right. And so what happens a lot in the dance world, and I can speak from experience, that's why I can say it. When you open a dance studio, when you're not a dancer yourself, or when you're not a dance teacher yourself, you're kind of at the what's the word I'm trying to find? Like you have to rely on other people to do that work for you. And
well, especially for them coming to a new city, you're at the mercy of a hearsay.
That's what I tried to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you pour your heart and soul into it because you really believe in it. And they have 2 children that are dancers. Three children. So they're very passionate about what they're doing, and they're opening that studio around this person that is very well known in this town to us. And this person has worked for a studio that Marcelo was director at before. He has worked at several studios around town. He has been fired from every single studio he has been at, and we have never known exactly what it's all about. But recently, it has come to my attention that the last studio he got fired from a few months ago, there is now proof on video that he was inappropriately touching a young student.
Do you know about that?
I've heard.
So this is where this is, and I'm talking about it because I'm very passionate about this, because I don't understand why this is still being kept in the dark. I don't understand why this family that is pouring all their money, all their hard work, all their passion into this business, they don't know this. And
do
I
they know this?
They do know this.
They do
know this, but since they're coming in from the outside perspective, they have read the letters that were written and all this stuff. But the mom herself, she actually is a psychologist and a life coach. Mm-hmm. So she was reading through it all and reading through the letters and things that were written about said person. Yes. And from what she has discovered, it's coming from more of a aggressive side. So it's more of, from what she believes, is more of like an attack on the new dance person. Mm-hmm. So I personally, I have never worked with this person before. I've worked with the family before, of course. That's how I introduced them to y'all. But like the new person who they're having has the face and the head of their studio. I have never worked with them before. I've never even met them before. So I don't know. But then at the same time, in Dallas, yes, there is always a lot of gossip. There's always a lot of things that float around. But 90% of the time, it actually has a reason behind it.
Exactly. And that's why I almost feel like so strongly, because I feel like they need to know and they need to think that this is not aggressive. This is the truth.
I think it gets scary when you hear it's on video. Has anyone seen the video?
I haven't heard anything about a video until now.
Well, there's a video.
Well, there is apparently a video, and there was apparently cops called to a competition.
Right.
What?
Yes.
Wow. So I don't know if they know those details. And I also don't know if this person was fired because they were found out about having a studio being open and that the aggression is coming from the other studio. But I think when you find out then about a video and then police, I think that's where it kind of gets scary.
Yeah.
And you're working with children.
And I was just concerned about you because your name is gold, platinum, whatever you want to say in my eyes. So I didn't want you to be associated with anything like that. Marcella was approached for a job there, so was Kayla, and neither one can do that in those circumstances. It's just,
I will work with their children. Yeah, and I told but mine is with that and then with time and stuff like that. But I love those people, so that has nothing to do with that. Yeah,
exactly. I'm just saying for the studio, that's the whole thing. And I mean, there's so many issues with, I'm not calling this person this name, I'm talking about some other people now, but there's actual issues in this world, in the dance world, with pedophiles that is going around and that is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. I mean, we had a photographer here in town that was recently found out that did all the studios photography.
Yes, God, I mean, awful.
All the dance studios photography. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable. And the photographer, after being found out about, admitted to the FBI that he was having child pornography and such on his computer. And how he got found out was that his computer was broken and he sent something in to get it fixed, and the person fixing it found all this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that is completely crazy, and he's now in prison for like 20 years. Like,
good.
Is bad.
I'm glad his computer broke.
And
I don't know how long it would have continued.
And he's a married man with children. So this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then we had the story with RG Dance in Australia. I don't know if you heard about this, where it was a brother and sister team that had a studio, and the brother was grooming the children. Like, it is just a mind-boggling story for me.
And actually, if you listen to episode 3 with Miss Polly,
about the
talks,
gymnastics.
She talks about grooming children.
That's right.
When they are in situations like that.
I mean, can you imagine, like, you are such a confused dance mom, or I don't know, psycho dance mom, that you're actually going to send naked photos of your child to their dance teacher because you want them to have better positions in the dances.
Oh, that was just a whole nother thing.
That's so weird, though. Yeah. Like, I can't even, like, I don't even believe you because that's so far. I believe you, but like,
I have
that's not on the spectrum.
Articles.
No,
Right.
I know, I believe you, but I'm just like,
it's hard.
Why is that even? Why am I hearing that that's a thing? That's
Isn't
disgusting.
It sick? Disgusting.
That's your child.
Yes,
it's horrible.
It
like,
really,
it's, I don't like that.
In trouble. That was my mic.
Yeah.
See, like the biggest thing is for me that it's most of these kids, it's their passion, it's their hobby, and the fact that
hello. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Spider.
And the fact that parents are taking it this far with their kids when they're just doing what they love.
Yeah, that's sad.
Let's see. Hello.
There you go.
Oh, that happened. Oh.
Let me switch that up.
We're gonna get her to sing.
Yeah, right.
So you think you can sing now?
Yeah, right. Oh,
you already conquered the dance. Now you gotta.
She can actually sing.
I believe you. I was just making a "so you think you can dance" joke.
Hello.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
There you
Back.
go.
Y'all are trying to shut me up around here. The Australia thing happened a long time ago, but I think that as a man in the industry, when you're working with young girls, because I think dance. Nope. Talk on your mic, Mom.
There you go.
I think dance is, mostly girls. There's a lot of girls, but I do know certain male teachers who try to be really careful, like, hey, I'm going to adjust your leg. Can I touch you here? Like, you have to be so careful. I mean, I think even when I was at a studio, I started like, you're taking kids to the bathroom. I was like, the door is open. Like, it just starts to get super.
Yeah.
And it sucks because nasty people ruin it for everyone else. Like, you would never, I would never think about that stuff. And it's like, now we have to go to these like crazy, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is that, like, just think about what it's like being a male instructor in the dance world nowadays.
I would be so scared.
Like, it's hard for them to be able to, because, like, think about this as female dance instructors. The amount of times that we have to, like, we literally sit on kids to help them with their stuff. We pick up their legs. We're, like, adjusting them, being like, engage here in your under thigh. Like, there's so many things that if a male instructor did
hands-on.
Yes.
Exactly. Because it's so much muscle and body control that they need to know this is what you're supposed to feel it.
Yeah.
And as a male instructor, they can't execute fully as an instructor if they can't make that contact. But at the same time, they're at risk every single time they're trying to make better dancers of being accused of doing horrible things.
Right. But being accused and then actually having proof of it is
exactly
totally different. And I understand the problem with male instructors that's hard for them.
Yeah.
But we also, I believe, have to protect our children and our girls, and that this is not okay at all. Yeah. And I am so huge about it, because when I bring my child to a class, I want to make sure that she's safe and doesn't get violated in that form of, in that sense. And so when there is proof of something, I would encourage these sweet people to not just brush it under the rug, but to really look into it.
Maybe do some research into
do some
it.
more research into it. And it comes from a place of love, really, for me, for the children, and for them, because I know what a huge undertaking it is, and you don't want to have that.
Yeah.
Because once that is there, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
So,
that does suck for guys, though. But
it's hard.
It does. But and then the whole RG dance with Davies, he actually, they said that the reason why the parents actually did it, because it seems so unusual for you and so unbelievable, but he actually felt like he was above the law and nothing could ever happen to him. So he actually told those parents, if you don't do what I am asking, I will destroy you. I will destroy your name and the whole entire industry. I will destroy your children. Your children will be nothing.
Like, then I would go, that's fine.
Them.
Goodbye. But there are some parents who actually listened.
Well, he constantly found new victims. Like, he had so many.
I think there was like 35 counts, right?
Gosh,
I think there were more.
Ugh. Well, he's in prison.
It's
ruin it for everybody, dude.
Well, that's like the gymnastics coach and like, or the gymnastics. He wasn't a coach. He was the what was he?
Oh, the doctor,
physical therapist,
the chiropractor.
That just went to jail. We talked about that. A few episodes back.
Absolutely crazy.
Gymnastics is really hands-on too.
Very. That's why it happens everywhere. It's just like when you're a good man, then that is obviously it's very hard for you. But if you have any agendas, this is the perfect situation for you.
Oh, I know.
I remember one of my first dance studios I actually went to right after I left it. they ended up on the news because the owner of the studio, the owner of the studio was dating a chiropractor. Yep. And that she sent all of her students to this said chiropractor who would inappropriately touch the students. What? And then they would come back and they'd be like, they tell their instructor and the owner of the studio, they're like, this happened. And they're like, okay, well, if you keep it quiet, then you get all of these things. So that was how all of these girls were having 4 or 5 solos. They were top in the company. It was kind of like, it was a rite of passage per se. And then when I switched studios, some of the girls who left with me, they were victims or almost victims.
What?
Wow.
And so they went back and talked in the news, and the studio itself, luckily for them, business-wise, their name was protected on the news articles and stuff that happened. But I remember my friends telling me that they were having to walk out of the studio with their hoods up, with their company jackets on, not talk to the news reporters, walk directly out to their cars. Like, they weren't allowed to hang out and all this stuff. There was a food place right up the street from it, and the girls would all walk up there and get food and go back, and they weren't allowed to do that anymore. If they were in the studio, they were inside the studio. The parents had dropped them off at the door. It was that ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was not that long ago either, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, that was just a few years back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very scary.
so
I don't
crazy.
understand that stuff. But I think
don't
as a
either.
parent, you have to be aware of who your children are around.
You have to talk to your children honestly every single night, and you have to talk about the day and what happened. And I always have done that with my kids. And
bedtime is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that it's a safe environment that they want to be able to open up and like actually talk about those things. Because so many kids, they keep it quiet. Yeah,
because they're scared.
Yeah, they're afraid that their parents are going to get mad at them for some reason.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I know this was kind of a downer, I guess you could say, but I that was very important for me that you know this and that you're aware of it and that you make a smart decision, because I love you with my whole heart. So I want to make sure you know, and actually maybe tell those people if they want to call me, they can call me. So
congrats on your PR firm.
Yes,
That's really
tell
cool,
us a little about that. I want to know about that.
I don't know if they're going to listen to this, but I fucking despise it.
You do?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. So when I applied for the job, I thought it was going to be something completely opposite than what it was.
What is it?
I thought that it was going to be me actually at events and at like banquets and fun things and doing PR and marketing like I helped you guys out with the boutique and everything. No, it was not. Instead, I wake up at like 5 a.m., get to the office by 8 a.m. or slightly beforehand, and I work almost 12 to 13 hour days every single day.
Doing what?
So the first few hours of the day, we're in morning meetings where we're learning business systems and all this stuff. And then after that, then we'll go into the field. And the field is Sam's Club and Costco's. And I am that obnoxious as fuck kiosk lady who's like, buy this. Yes. So that's what I'm doing.
No.
And I despise it with a burning passion. It is absolutely awful. I have not been this upset with a job since when I worked at Forever 21.
Oh no.
Well,
and that's
Jazmyn,
the worst.
Right after this, we're headed to one of our most important meetings of our life ever. And if we can do what we're trying to do, you might have to do it.
Yeah. You'd be great at it.
Yeah, you will, and you will love your life again. So,
Yes.
just
We're trying.
keep your fingers crossed that it works out. And that's it. I think
that was fun.
We had so much fun. And do you have anything else you want to share?
Not really. Besides the fact that I love you guys so much.
We love you.
It's crazy how I even got to like meeting you guys, because it all started like me being homeschooled and doing school at Starbucks. Yep.
Miss Polly.
And then Miss Polly one day messaged my mom on Facebook and was like, would Jazmyn teach a drill team class? And I was like, not no, but hell no. And then fast forward a little bit more, they're like, well, we need a hip hop instructor. And I roll up into this pink, fluffy, two-tooth studio. And I walk in there and I'm like, okay, I gotta look cool and like kind of businessy, but kind of like hip-hoppy at the same time. And then I walk in and I meet Marcella. And I'm like, oh my God, I just met a Barbie in real life. I'm like, this is literally the most beautiful person I've ever laid my eyes on in my entire life. How in the world am I supposed to work with her? And then she's the sweetest person ever. And then fast forward through all that time, I've never felt more welcomed at a studio. And then I remember remember the day that Gabrielle, she calls me and she's like, I'm so sorry, but we're having to shut down the studio. And she's like, and then we got to just chit-chatting. And then she's like, well, actually, though, I'm trying to, like, she's like, I'm so stressed. I need a personal assistant for my boutique. And I'm like, well, what does your personal assistant do? And she lists off all the work. And I'm like, you realize I've been doing that since I was 14. And she's like, wait, what? Really?
Come over now.
Come over.
Literally. And then I came over the very next day and she's like, you're hired.
Well, and if you see too, Jazmyn directs concept videos, and you are so good at it. And I wish we could make more. I think when this business starts to get better, we're going to need that, because I think we are going to need stuff that's probably self-funded, like Todrick Hall or something. And we'll only want Jazmyn to do that, because you do a great job. She helped us with the Christmas video that's on our social media or our YouTube, and then
the New Year's.
New Year's.
The New Year's one is my favorite one.
Yes.
I love the Christmas too.
Yeah, those are fun, and she's really good at it. If you look at her Instagram, you have a lot of photography, a lot of concept videos. You're really good at that stuff.
Give us your social media handle again so people can find you.
So my personal one is at Jazmyn Ray May. So it's at JazmynRaymay. And then actually my photography one, where all of my creativity actually shines, is at J Ray May Photography.
Yes.
There you go.
And she's a good photographer, because a lot of times it's hard to know what to do. Like, you kind of, you're a good director, so I mean,
she makes you feel really comfortable.
Yes.
And I like when photographers tell me what to do. I'm like, what do I do with my hands? Like,
I was talking to someone not that long, a model. We were talking about how it's hard because we're not behind the camera, so sometimes we might think as you're modeling, you might think you're doing a good job, but actually what you're getting
awkward
is not the like, twist your hips just a little bit that way or whatever. So it is. If you're a photographer, or if you want to work with Jazmyn, she makes you feel very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
So, thank you for taking the time coming and see us.
You're so welcome anytime.